What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to submission on the shore competitor. I mean, many other competitor, but she is a jiu-jitsu athlete competing on submission on the shore on September 11th. Um, she is Gabrielle Joy Gomez. Gabrielle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks for asking. And thanks for doing this. This is so cool. And obviously we first met. It seemed like eons ago because the
Oh.
world when you competed at the Queen Mary in Long Beach for submission on the shore was a lot different, right? A lot different, and a lot has changed in such. I mean, a few months practically, and yeah. So thank you for doing this. But yeah, how did you get into jujitsu?
So I got into jiu-jitsu because of my brothers and my dad. We moved to Arkansas. I'm a military brat, so my mom got stationed in Arkansas, and they started. We were trying to look for a jiu-jitsu school for my two brothers to do. I was doing swimming in high school at the time, and then I was just getting kind of bored because I don't know. I just didn't like swimming in the cold either. It was during winter time. So I went to one class to watch my little brother just train. He was 10 at the time. And then after that I was like, you know what, I want to do it. So my dad set up mats in our living room. I started doing our the basic drills. We call them line drills, like shrimping, front row, back row. He just wanted me to do it before I got into a class and to make sure I liked it before he spent money on me every month to do it. So I was training with my little brother at home, and then he enrolled me to class, and then from there I just continued.
No, that's brilliant. And I mean, the fact that you know, like your first kind of iterations of jujitsu came via your brothers, and like you were already doing the drills, like shrimp rolling and all that
Mhm.
jazz. Like the first shrimp roll my dad gave me was like something to eat, well, whatever. So it's a little bit of a different path that we both took, respectively, but yeah, it's that's pretty cool. Now, at what at what point in the jujitsu journey were your brothers at when you kind of were like the light bulb went off and you're like, hey, I can do this too, especially being an athlete in swimming. Like, at what point in their journeys were they at?
So my little brother started a month before I did, but before that, my family had a background in Kaji Kembo, Hawaiian Kempo. So I've been doing that since I was 5 years old. We had a background in that, and then my dad, before moving to Arkansas, we were in Guam. My dad did MMA over there, so he had to learn some jiu-jitsu. So we came after we moved to Arkansas. Uh, my older brother, yeah, my both brothers were a month in before I joined. I did do a my first white belt tournament 2 months after I started, and then we stopped training for 9 months just because of family problems. And then around the beginning of or the summer of 2014 is when we started training consistently, and then we moved to Misawa, Japan, where we started our own school on Misawa Air Base.
Whoa, that is, I mean, that's pretty a full kind of career, in martial arts, way before you even stepped on the mats for jujitsu. Now, obviously, Hawaiian Kempo and I guess the traditional martial arts that you train
Mhm.
are primarily like stand up and striking disciplines,
Yes.
right? So, obviously, gis are kind of similar. It's just the difference in material and diamond
Mhm.
woven and all that jazz, whatever. But in terms of starting jujitsu, right? Was it kind of weird to kind of be out of your element because instead of being on the mat and striking, you're on the mat grappling? I mean, obviously you had iterations of your dad in MMA, uh, your brothers in jiu-jitsu, but like actually actually trying it for the first time? Was that kind of like a fish out of water story, or did you adapt pretty quickly?
We did some of the throws, just like basic hip throws, and the rolls were pretty familiar to me. But the shrimping and standing base and those S mounts, I didn't know my body can move that way. So it was pretty weird. It was pretty weird starting jujitsu. I wasn't at first I wasn't comfortable when we started doing live rolling with the other kids, just because I've never done it and I didn't know what jujitsu was. I just did it because my brothers did it. So, but I think after the first week, I was okay.
Now, and then I mean, you literally were in a white belt tournament. Like I'm kind of a forever white belt, having like trained consistently for like 2 years and whatever. Um, and the thing about it is like I've never competed at a tournament, right? Obviously, we're talking about submission on the shore and a lot of the other competitions that you've essentially competed in your career thus far. But I mean, to essentially come out and do a white belt tournament first month in, like that's kind of, I mean, it's not insane, but that just like that's some superhero ish right there. So what kind of brought that out? Like who suggested it? Did you go like, hey, I'm looking on the calendar and you're like, hey, there's this competition coming to town and let me do this? Or like did you get some gentle nudging?
So at first, my dad was telling me not to compete yet because I've only been 2 months in. It was my brothers and my dad competing, but with our family, we're pretty competitive with each other. So it was a Naga tournament. I think it was in Texas. That was my first tournament. So I signed up last minute to gi and no gi, and then I was actually the first match to go on. I almost got choked out, but I mean, I lost by points. But after that first one, my dad pulled me to the side and he said, "Okay, you got your experience now. You can't lose." So I didn't lose. But yeah, I got in because I don't know. I just like competing with my brother because whatever they want to do, I want to do it too. So that's why I
Hey,
did it.
there's nothing wrong with that, and we actually have the major domo of submission on the shore, Albert Tapia. Shout out to Albert and putting on this fantastic tournament and string of events. So shout out to you, good sir. I mean, a tenured MMA veteran, But it's funny that you say Naga because I actually have a Naga belt here because I grew up a wrestling fan, right?
Uh-huh.
And of course, the Olympics and Bruce Lee, those are cool, but like I love like Bret Hart and like those guys and whatever because Bret Hart, he came from a family of wrestlers and his dad was a wrestler too,
Oh.
and his dad could literally, he was like an old catch wrestler, right? And there were stories about how he used to choke out a bear. So, and when I heard that as a kid, I was just like, I don't know what like the Ninja Turtles are doing. I don't know what Spider-Man is doing, but I want to choke out a bear. So, like, I want to be a wrestler. So for me, wrestling titles are,
Oh.
you know, wrestling titles are it. Not so much the medals. And Naga is the one. Naga and Five are the only kind of two that hand out belts. Submission on the Shore is actually for their super fights and champions. They're doing that too, but that's a crazy environment to be in, especially like um, a month in, and then competing both gi and no gi. But it just like, what did you learn about yourself? Obviously, you talked about your dad just saying like, don't get choked out, whatever.
Oh.
But what did you learn about yourself in that kind of initial tournament?
So I was actually kind of scared to do it, but I'm like a quiet person. I don't really like talking to people too much. So, and I sing too, so I join like talent shows just to put myself out there to, get or face my fears or something. But when I did that tournament, At first, walking in there, all the the butterflies, I was getting nervous. I was using the bathroom so much, but once I stepped on the mats, like everything just like blacked out. I just like focused on the fight, and I was like, oh, it's not as bad as it. I was like thinking it, because leading up to it, I was sweating, I was shaking, my stomach was hurting. I was like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? And that's the same feeling I felt when I went on the first. I was on the shore. I was like, oh my god, what am I putting myself into? So, but I learned that I don't know. I overthink things too much, but once I do it, it's like nothing happened. So I learned that I just have to do it to get over it, and then also I realized how much I actually do like jujitsu. I wasn't just doing it to compete with my brothers, but I actually enjoy training. So I'm glad I stuck to it. It's the only besides Kaji Kembo, it's the only sport I've stuck to consistently.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And Jesse Velasquez, who's a brown belt himself, says 2 months in a tournament. That's already legit, you know. And oh, he likes the new intro. Thank you, Jesse. And then Albert is just like wrestle emojis. Heck yeah, yeah. So I mean, it became less of a like a keeping up with the Joneses type scenario with you and your brother, that you actually kind of felt your path kind of developed, right? So stepping onto the mats at the gym, after your first tournament, I mean, that had to be like a whole new light, a whole new like everything, a whole new perspective after competing, and seeing, like you said, facing your fears. So like, what was that first thing in your mindset after competing in the tournament, after competing in Naga, to stepping back on the mat and seeing what you could ply yourself in?
So after that first tournament, I just wanted to do more. Um, I focused before that first tournament though. I was being kind of lazy, especially with the warm ups and drilling. I was like, oh, I'm just doing it just because. But after that first tournament, I was like, I actually want to compete more. I want to get myself out there. I focused, or so we would do the classes. It was only an hour class for the kids, and then after that, because our gym was 24 hours, there were mats in this racquetball room. So we would train in there and just do extra drilling. Well, the people that we watched a lot were the Mendes Bros, like their style, Mendes Bros, Meow Brothers. We did all their drills. And then later on, because we took 6 to 9 months of a break, and then we got back into it, we just continued drilling again. And we didn't really like living in Arkansas, so we would just work out, go home, go to school. So what we would do, since the gym was 24 hours, we would usually go 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. and then we just go to school. Yeah. out of
Wow.
out of we just didn't have anything else to do, that's why. So we would just drill and drill. My older brother would watch a lot of videos. Him and my dad were the ones that mostly trained my little brother and I the most. So after that first tournament, I took it, or we all took it pretty serious.
No, absolutely. Now it's funny because like my dad, he was a musician, and he would like gently, more than gently, nudge my sister and I to kind of take up music, right? So your dad having an extensive martial arts background and training and being in the military,
Mm.
what, did you and your brothers kind of feel some of that pressure, or was it just like, nah, like we like this?
Um, no, I think we all enjoyed it. I know for myself, the reason why my dad, well, in the beginning with Kaji Kembo, when I started, I didn't want to do it. So he gave me a choice. He said, it was this one night before, because he was teaching the Kaji Kembo class. He said, do you want to go to a party with your mom, or do you want to go to class with me? I said, I want to go to the party. I was a kid because it was like this family party. He goes, okay, get ready. You're coming with me. And after that, I just did whatever he told me to. But he told me the reason why he wanted me to keep up with martial arts is because ever since I was a baby, I was always the weakest. I was getting sick a lot, and even till now, I'm the smallest in my family. If I'm the even though I'm the second oldest in the family, everyone else they they're very protective over me still. So I tend to get hurt a lot, and when I do get sick, it takes me a long time to recover compared to my other siblings. So he wanted to put me in martial arts and jiu-jitsu because he just wanted me to learn how to fight for myself when he's not around anymore.
No, that's brilliant. I've got a daughter myself, and that's if you've got any women in your family, no matter physical or whatever, you always worry, right? You always worry as a male, and that has to be kind of cool, even though they kind of keep you in a bubble, so to speak. I mean, but knowing that you are, kind of proficient in two types of martial arts,
Mhm.
both striking and on the ground, that's got to feel pretty good.
It does. I sometimes, I mean, I doubt myself sometimes, like, oh, what? I don't know if I'm good enough in this, blah blah blah. But then, like, if I take time for myself and think about the things that I've accomplished, I was like, wow, not a lot of people can do what I do, and then get back into it. It gives me
Yeah,
motivation again.
absolutely. Funny that you mentioned that, because Jesse Velasquez says that's so awesome. Wish my family trained with me too. Trying to get my nephew to train with me. There's still hope. There's still hope. There's still hope, buddy. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, now with like this new kind of competitive fire that you have, um, was the goal, like, just keep competing, or did it matter the belt system? Like, did you want to get to your next belt of attainment so you could face a whole new level of competition? Like, what was that?
At first, I thought it the belt mattered. I mean, it kind of does, but later on, like when you compete, like the last tournament I did, I wasn't just going against brown belt. It was like a purple belt, brown belt tournament. So there's not really a difference when it comes to that, I guess, level. But my goal is, yeah, I want to do. I do want to compete to test my own skills, but also I want to teach other people like what I've learned and how jujitsu helped me. And my ultimate goal is to open my own school. I just know I still gotta. There's still some things that I lack, and I want to get better at that before I even start opening or opening my own school. Yeah, but I I used to care a lot about winning competitions just because of ranking and stuff. But at this point, like at brown belt, I still haven't done. I've only done one IBJJF tournament. I haven't done Worlds, Pan Am's, Euros. Like I haven't done a big tournament, one of those big tournaments yet. So hopefully, by next year, I'll be able to do all of those. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush anymore. Before, when I was blue belt, I was like, I want to go by purple belt now. Like, when is it coming? But after becoming purple belt, I wanted to stay purple belt. I was like, I kind of enjoy being here. Yeah, I just felt like I always feel like I'm not ready for the next belt. So
I don't think anybody ever feels ready. You kind of see in grappling forums on social media, like a black belt is, somebody who never gave up, or who never stopped training. Iterations of that, right? So it's kind of weird because and there was even a time when I first started training. The school that I went to, it was first opened by a John Jock Black. I don't know, not even black belt, blue belt at the time.
mhm.
Now, obviously, this was like almost 20 years ago, so everything looked a lot different. But I mean, the thought today of a blue belt opening a school, is like it's it's insane, But it just shows you, for with every week, with every year, with every kind of like iterations, like submission on the floor, EBI or Fight to Win, these big promotions that are getting acclaim for not just jiu-jitsu heads, but like the world of mass, they kind of like, what is this? It just kind of shows you the level of competition that there are.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Oh,
Sorry, like kind of cut off a little bit.
no worries, no worries. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the level of competition is just like so big and so vast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know, cause like nowadays you see what Rotilla brothers, 16-year-olds going against all these world champions. So it doesn't even. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't really matter anymore. If you're good, you're good. Just compete. Doesn't matter who.
No, absolutely. Just compete, right? That's all that matters. And the mats, they don't lie, right? You can say you're a black belt or where you trained or whatever. You get on the mats, and if you are meant to be exposed, you get exposed pretty quickly. It's
Mm-hmm.
not even like that. It's not something that you could lie on your resume about or whatever. You get to the mats, and that's the ultimate truth teller, which is amazing because I mean, especially with submission on the shore, right? It's an all-female tournament now. Obviously, EBI has had iterations of all-female sub-only tournaments and what have you, and they kind of flirt with that a little bit, but to have this, right, as a young person that was training jujitsu, a young female, did you think that this was a possibility that you could essentially train and get to a tournament that's on stream that people are paying for and paying to see?
I didn't even when Albert first messaged me or in the subs on the shore Instagram page. At first, I was like, "What is this?" Because I thought it was a scam. I did because they sent the entry fee and all those, and I never heard of or for me like an all women's tournament on a Queen Mary. So and I was hesitant at first, and then after that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it. What can I lose? You know. So I'm actually glad Albert made a women's only tournament because I did a fight to win back last year October, and in the fight card, yeah, there were a couple of women in there too. But then some other tournaments that I've seen, women don't get represented too much. So it's always the males, always the males are in the main card and all that. So thank you, Albert, for setting the subs on the shore promotion up for us because I didn't even know there's that many, talented women grapplers. I was actually surprised watching the last subs on the shore events that's been put on, and I'm glad too because I got some of my teammates to do it now. So and some of them I used to be or in my school in Japan, Ohana BJJ, were affiliated with Triton Fight Center under Professor Pete Willem. So um, some of the girls from his school I've heard about, but I've never met yet. But I saw that they're in the upcoming card now. So I'll be meeting them for the first time in like 4 years,
Wow.
which is
But
weird.
that's cool though. I mean, it's like obviously you've matured, quite a bit in your jiu-jitsu journey, and then to kind of be able to see, what they're still doing at yeah, I mean, relatively your first school, and see the progression and what have you. It's just like that's really really cool to see.
Hmm. Also, in the first subs on the shore, the one person that surprised me the most was Trinity, 14, 14 when she was a champion. I don't know, that was pretty surprising too. Cause my brother when he started, he was 10. He was 10, and then he started getting pretty good around 14 years old. He's 18, or he's turning 18 now, but like seeing her reminded me of my little brother. And I think I talked to her a little bit like right before Like after I lost my second match, I talked to her right after because I was gonna leave, and I just told her like she reminded me of my little brother, so that was pretty cool. I'm actually like really happy for her that she won, and like that's the one that people would see, grown woman, and then the youngest one is a 14-year-old winning at 2,500. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it just shows, the high level of talent that is basically being formulated everywhere, right? At any age, right? I think a lot of people when Grace Gundram
Mm-hmm.
competed in the, her first EBI, and it was just like I think I might have been there at the Orpheum and in LA, and it was just like, how could this? I mean, she was barely like 4 foot tall, whatever. And she was just like, I mean, she was a super fight. And it was just like the amount of technical jujitsu prowess that happened. It was incredible, And Jesse Velasquez is saying, like, yeah, big facts,
Mm-hmm.
everything gets told, the truth gets told on the mats, that's absolutely true. Albert Tapia says big things coming for the ladies. So I'm going to invite one Albert Tapia on the show because I definitely wanted to see what's coming. But there's a little bit of breaking news. And if there's anything to be broken and tested out, it's probably going to be um, obviously on September 11th for Spring Valley. So that's got to be cool. I mean, how did this kind of iteration where you're going to go ahead and compete again for submission on the shore? How did that process start?
So I during all this the pandemic going on, gyms closing and all that. I wanted to do the last one, but I didn't have enough money, for traveling and boarding. So uh, I backed out on that one, and then I was like, I'm gonna save some money, see which one's gonna come up next. So once the Spring Valley Subs on the Shore event came up, I applied, and then I got a fight because I don't know. I took about a year and a half off of competing, and then I think last September was when I went. It was a grappling industries. I signed up for that one last minute, and then the month after I did the fight to win. That was my first time on a big stage. And then after the fight to win, I said, I wanna keep competing. Get that feeling back, that adrenaline rush, and just training hard all the time. And then I after I did the first subs on the shore, I wanted to do pans. I just wanted to keep the competing going, but then everything shut down again. So once this one came up and I had enough money to save up for it, I wanted to go back into competing. So that's why I wanted to do this one. And also, whenever I'm not competing, I tend to gain weight really fast, just because I just love eating. So it gives me a reason to cut down on just stuffing my face with food. Because the last one in Subs on the Shore, I think because I came back from a vacation in December and I weighed in at 140. Tournament was at 115, so I took that month and a half to cut down. For me, that was the easiest weight cut I've ever done. And I haven't been 115 in years, and I struggle with my weight a little bit, and that really messed up my mind. Just like looking at myself like I'm not happy with myself. So after getting down to that, I wanted to maintain my weight. So I walk around like around 130, but I don't mind cutting down 10 pounds. It gives me a reason to stay healthy.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, I hear you, and I was gonna allude to it, but Jesse got me first. The struggle, quarantine got me, and everybody heavy. So that's the thing. If there's any sort of solace, any type of solidarity, that is obviously everybody's kind of struggling through weight issues right now, right? So I mean, you're not the only one, right? And probably some of the people in the tournament are much like you. So I mean, it's going to be an even playing field, you know. So that's that you at least have some solace in that.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, I mean, the next submission on the show, and shout out to Albert again, because yes, since the last time that we spoke in that first sub on the shore in Long Beach on the Queen Mary, which was historic, right? Jiu-Jitsu had never been done on the Queen Mary.
Hmm.
I grew up in Inglewood, had my high school prom, I think, at the Queen Mary, right? So proms have been there, you know, a lot of like ghosts and stuff like that, but no Jiu-Jitsu. So Albert was the one to make it happen, and not just that, he had to have that little extra caveat in having not just a jiu-jitsu tournament, but a female sub only jiu-jitsu tournament, right? And he's done one since that time, and I believe it was February, right? Right
Hmm.
around there. And he's actually put on two stream only events, you know, in San Pedro, and they're in like the Orange County area, I believe. One was in Orange County here in LA. I mean, here in California, and then one in San Pedro, which isn't too far off either. So this one, you know, you talked about your father's you know, military background, right? So this one happening in Spring Valley, it's happening on 9/11, right? It's something that is synonymous and oftentimes patriotic because of you know, what happened it back in gosh, it was like 2001, right? 9/11 2001. So what significance, obviously you want to compete and everything like that, but especially during quarantine, and then this happening on 9/11, like what kind of speciality does it have for you and meaning for you?
So for me, especially with charities, I like to donate a lot. There's one other charity that I donate to monthly, the People's Jiu Jitsu, and that they just help, you know, kids get into Jiu Jitsu. So when I saw that we were going to be donating, you know, some of the money to Tuesday's Children, of course, like I wanted to sign up, which is like a bonus on why I wanted to do this upcoming event. So looking back and when 9/11 happened, I was too young to understand what was going on. I just remember because we were living in Travis Air Force Base at the time. So all I remember was the gates closing down. We couldn't get on base for a while. And I know my mom is actually the one in the military. So,
Oh,
uh, yeah, my dad was getting sent home. My mom wasn't working. So we were just trying to get back on base because we went somewhere. But yeah, growing after getting older, and sometimes like I go back on YouTube and watch the news, the replays of the news of what happened that day, and uh, I mean, I'm glad I didn't experience it, like be there, but like I'm also kind of sad about the people that were actually there that day and actually lost family members to the event. So um, I wanna. I'm glad that Albert is setting up all this too. The money being donated to these children, and hopefully, like more events like that when charities are being put together with the upcoming events too.
wow. Yeah, I mean, it's heavy. I mean, I remember, and it was so weird. So, growing up in Inglewood High, I mean, we were like literally miles away from LAX, right? And that was actually the second day of my sophomore year of high school. And
Mm.
it was just a pandemonium, right? And my mom, who worked for City Hall, which was, or Inglewood City Hall, which was like right across the street from my high school, that was the biggest, you know, that was essentially like the biggest building in the surrounding area, you know, and people thought, if, you know, we were going to get attacked, especially that close to LAX, you know, it was just like could get hijacked or whatever. So like, it was just a crazy time, you know, and it was just like a time of like, you know, the unprecedented that had never happened before, you know, planes into buildings, even when like you're seeing this, like it was like a really like it was a trippy mind thing because they were like, oh, here's a plane and here's a building, and like what do you mean a plane is going into a building, let alone three planes, you know? So yeah, it was such a tragedy. But again, what we've been able to do, since, and find that sense of pride and unity. I remember that week and month after 9/11, there was just such a togetherness, right? Like everybody felt like a community. It didn't matter, what religion, preference, whatever. None of that mattered. Like
Mhm.
everybody was like just together. We kind of grouped together, and especially in a time like this where we've got like this global pandemic going on, and it's just now more than ever, we need to kind of pull together as a community, a community of people, and kind of put away our differences and just go like, you know what, we're all just trying to figure it out. Like none of us really know what's going on, but um, obviously, like there has to be some sort of canary in the coal mine, and Albert is definitely doing that. And he actually says Tuesday's Children provides a lifetime of healing for families who have been forever changed by terrorism, military conflict, or mass violence. So that's got to be cool that not just you're ascending your jiu-jitsu competition and what competing and what have you, but you're also you know giving back to a larger community.
Mhm. That's what also like I was always told ever since I started jujitsu. Especially when we were stationed in Japan. We lived there for 11 years. So that last 4 years were in Misawa, Japan, when we started our own school there, we didn't charge. We taught for free for 4 years. We taught for free. Our team grew. We ended up cross training with the Japanese nationals, Team Kazumaru, off base. So um, we grew from there. And then also, the reason why we did it for free is because not only did we not pay for, we didn't have to pay for like electricity, rent, or anything. The gym just gave us the mats and said, "Here, you guys can use it. It's free space." And also with the military members there, especially with those single airmen, they don't have families to be with them. They're in a country they're not used to. So I've heard from my teammates, coming there, jiu-jitsu has saved them a lot from, just being stuck in the barracks all the time, being alone in their thoughts. So having the jiu-jitsu classes there for them to just have time for themselves and not think about anything, it really helped them a lot. And that's what we wanted to do, is just give back, because get back to our, the community there. We just wanted to help people, just like jiu-jitsu has helped me realize like the things that I thought I couldn't do. Jiu-jitsu, I mean, I know a lot of people say this, but like jiu-jitsu is my therapy. I have my own problems, So when the pandemic was going on and our gym was closed, not able to train every day like I used to, it's hard being stuck in your room, like in your own thoughts, not doing anything, not doing, you know, the things that make you happy. So giving back is one of the real things. If I have like 50 students and at least I can change at least one person's life, that would be like enough for me. Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. No, I mean, and that's the mindset that we all kind of need to have, and not just in this time, but in any time. Just to, if I can better the life or the day at the very least of somebody around me, somebody I don't even know, that I don't have, a close connection with, just somebody in my community, right? And just kind of reach out to them. Um, the world, if everyone did that for one other person, there would be a whole lot more good than the bad stuff that we're kind of literally inundated by on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis.
Yeah, it's crazy like how our world is right now. Everyone's fighting each other, everyone's getting sick. Like it's just crazy. I
It
don't
is crazy.
understand. we're being like separated by some. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
We're being separated by like some stupid shit. Like, come on. Like you can have your own opinion and shit, but you don't have to. I don't know. Some people just take it too far.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, it's people, you've like I've been to Bellators, right? Where, literally there's, aside from the fighters that are actually fighting on the card, there's literally 1,000, other fighters, coaches, whatever, right? In a 16, 17,000 sold out arena, right? Person arena. And the three fights that happen outside of the Bellator cage are three drunkards that don't have any fighting ability at all. But here's like literally 1,000 fighters and jiu-jitsu people and whatever. And they're just like, look at that asshole. Come on, really? And they also know, like, 40, 50, 60 bucks or whatever, that's like a new gi, a new pair of gloves or whatever. So if they paid to get into this damn show, the hell they're getting thrown out,
The thing is too, like, especially with jiu-jitsu, I know we all end up, competing with against each other. The thing is, you don't know who's gonna help you later on. So you just gotta be good person on and off the mats. Cause I mean, I used to be like that. I used to be close minded, like, I don't need to train with anybody else. I got my own team, like it's good enough. But actually coming or doing the last subs in the shore, preparing for that. When I first moved to Colorado, the first grappling industries I lost to a girl. It was because you know how grappling industries, they do round robin.
Yeah.
The first match I lost by points to her, and then I got Kimura by her the next match. So, and she was a purple belt, and I just got my brown belt. So of course I was like, oh man, I suck, blah 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 blah. And then later on, because it was the subs on the show with the Nogi tournament, I ended up cross training with her because she's right next. Her gym is like right next to me. So whenever, like, I wanted to get as much training as I can possible. So her name is Natalie from Warrior MMA. So I went to her gym. I trained there in the afternoon, and then in the evening I went to my gym, and then she would also like come to our gym to help. So instead of like, like, oh, she's Meyer, I lost against her, blah blah blah. She actually also contributed to my training leading up to the first subs in the shore. There's that.
And again, how sick is that, right? You competed and whatever. There could be, kind of ill feelings happening and whatever. But no, not in combat sports. Like, I cover a lot of MMA, and my favorite part of every fight, not knockouts, not submissions or whatever, but when the fight is over and everybody like slap hands and hugs, and the coaches and the fighters and whatever, that's my favorite part, because it's like all the bullshit is aside, whatever, and it's just like, like, again, we're a larger community, and that's hella cool.
And it's like years later. So back in Arkansas when I started jiu-jitsu, we had like a couple of guys that we trained with, and then after we moved, we don't really hear from them again. So because this tournament is in Spring Valley, that it's like near San Diego, right? Around that area. Yeah. My old teammates from when I first started are coming out to watch. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because the people that you meet in jiu-jitsu, I mean, especially like the teammates that you train with every single day, you see them every single day. I think those relationships like last for a lifetime. So that's why, like, I don't know. If you're scared to try jiu-jitsu, I mean, just try out one class. Just try out one class, and that one class can change your life.
Yeah. And no, Albert Tapia, he said hella I'm NorCal, Northern California. Yes, I was born in San Francisco. I kind of let that on. Sorry about that. I said hella cool. Yeah, you kind of fucking outed me there. But yeah, I mean, again, the combat sports community is, it's a very close one. It kind of brings everybody together, despite I guess, the logistical places. I'd lived in the same town as a guy that I met when I first moved to LA when I was in like fifth grade and whatever, and we didn't see each other until like, oh, it was like a EBI, not an EBI, but like a Eddie Bravo fucking Christmas party. We hadn't seen each other in like 15 years. And apparently, like, he trains out of like 10 Planet West LA, and I know a lot of the 10 Planet people. And again, it was a reunion through Jiu-Jitsu of my friend that I hadn't seen in like 15 fucking years. So, it's just like, yeah,
It's like a family, a big ass family.
big ass family. Hell yeah, it is. And Albert is even saying, yep, he's from Sacramento. So he already knows. He already knows that NorCal scene. But I mean, obviously, we talked a lot about jits and what have you. But when you're not competing, when you're not training, obviously, training in two different styles of kempo, training in jiu-jitsu, becoming a brown belt, like, that's pretty cool. But I mean, what are you doing on your downtime?
Oh, my downtime. Okay, I like to sing. I play piano. I watch anime and I eat. That's what I do. Most of the time, it's just watching anime and eating. Yeah, but yeah, I really love to sing. So my brother, he learned how to sing like a couple months ago. So we're both just trying to, practice a lot with that. With the piano, I don't know how to read notes. So I just listen by ear. Sometimes it takes me a while to learn a song. I mean, not too long, but I mean, sometimes I do that. But my downtime is usually just chilling at home. I don't really like to go out. When I do, there's like a certain, like, maybe 1 or 2 hours I'm able to be out, and then after that I need a nap time. I don't know. I can't function properly. I don't like being out for too long. Even I like to work out every day. I still work out every day, and then weekends, I guess my rest day from working out is probably training, doing maybe an open mat jiu-jitsu or light rolling. So I'm still doing that too. But yeah, my downtime is just staying home with the family.
No, absolutely. Now, Albert Tapia is saying, what are you doing September 12th? Hopefully, will be the day after Subs on the Shore, Spring Valley. So we'll be around. We'll be around for sure, right? So I'm going to put that out there. And then Jesse Velasquez says, anime. What anime are you watching right now?
What anime? I'm rewatching old animes. So, I mean, right now I just introduced because my boyfriend doesn't he's an anime watcher, so I was like, I'm gonna put you on some anime. So whatever's on Netflix right now, I try to go on some anime sites, but then there's viruses popping up, so we're just watching the ones on Netflix right now. We're both watching Demon Slayer, rewatching. Well, I'm rewatching it because I already watched it. Attack on Titan is one of my favorites. And then just a bunch of romance animes. So that's like some of the animes I'm watching.
That's awesome. Now, my no, it's funny. My 13-year-old who like doesn't do the combat sports thing, and that's his deal, and that's cool. But as soon as you were like anime, like he perked up, and I literally saw his eyes like at the edge of the room, and I'm like, so that's cool. So thank you for getting some points with me with my 13-year-old. Because he's probably going to ask me like a ton about it. So that's cool. But obviously, obviously, it's not me. It's never me.
Always.
Yeah, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. So he's asking you, what are you doing September 12th? Which
Uh,
I we can do the DM thing, right?
September 12th, I'm singing the national anthem for the team versus team for that second event. Or yeah.
The team versus team.
So the September 11th is the 155 tournament and the super fights, and then the next day is the team versus team. I'm gonna sing the national event. I mean national event, national anthem for that event.
Sick. Yeah, and that's what he was alluding to. Gabrielle, tell him what you're doing in September 12th. So there it is. So she'll be singing the national anthem. Literally, September 11th and September 12th, you get to see Gabrielle do two of the things that she loves the most. Both, I mean, literally choking people out and singing the national anthem. So that's pretty damn cool. Now, obviously, a lot of people brought you to the dance. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Shout out! Oh, I want to shout out. Of course, my team, Wilson Bros Grappling over here. You guys helped me with everything. Shout out to my team back in Ohana, BJJ Japan. You guys, my family. You guys have always been my family. Shout out to Albert. Albert's giving me a lot of opportunities. He's a really nice guy. He's doing a lot for women's jiu-jitsu. And also, shout out to my dad. He's not here right now. Shout out to my dad and the prisoners in La Tuna, Texas. He wanted me to shout them out. So, see you when you get back, Papa.
Damn right. Yeah. Shout out to Latuna, Texas, man, and Ohana BJJ, Wilson BJJ, and Albert Tapia. Again, putting on fantastic events. And you could follow Submission on the Shore on all of their social media handles to see what's going on. I think the lineup is still kind of developing for September 11th. So definitely check out Subs on the Shore online on the socials. Now, for people that want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
I have Instagram, DJOY.Gomez. My Facebook, Gabrielle Joy Gomez. I'm not gonna tell you my Twitter. There's some secrets in there. So yeah, my Instagram and Facebook I use the most. So you can follow me on there.
There it is. Well, Gabrielle, thank you so much. I would even say Joy. Thank you so much for joining us here at According to the Woods. Good luck and good skill come September 11th, and we can't wait to see what happens. So, and then obviously September 12th, where you're singing the national anthem, like one of the craziest songs to sing as a singer. You're doing that. So, yeah, man, we just want to cheer you on. But thank you guys for joining us. This has been According to the Woods with Gabrielle Joy Gomez, and we are out.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.